Unfiltered. Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
All right, welcome back into Unfiltered. Obviously doing a lot of Sixers talk with Daryl Morey being fired. We will get back to that conversation. But joining us now, like he does every Wednesday, Hall of Fame writer for The Athletic, Jayson Stark, to talk some Phillies. Because don't look now, but you're fighting Phils. Only 2 games under 500. Only 4 out of a wild card spot. Too early to look at the standings, Ricky. Too early. But this team is winning games. They've looked like a different team under Don Mattingly for whatever reason. So joining us now, Jayson Stark. Jayson, what's going on, man? Oh, I'm sorry. We are still trying to get Jayson up. All right, so Jayson Stark will be joining us shortly. They're trying to get his Zoom to work so he can come on the show. But, yeah, Ricky, I mean, you look at this team over the last couple of weeks. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They've now won 3 in a row after winning, 7 in a row, right? Is that what it was? Well, I'm trying to remember now. They won when Mattingly took over.
Confuse me. I could see
when Mattingly took over, how many games did they win in a row?
They had lost 10 in a row. Then they won, I believe it was 6 out of 7.
6 out of 7, and now they're 7-3 in their last 10. So joining us now, Jayson Stark, like he does every Wednesday. Jayson, we got you now, my man?
What's happening, guys?
All right, there he is. So, Jayson, you always start us off with a tremendous stat of the week. What do you got for us today?
Well, let's talk a little bit about Brandon Marsh. What do you think? Guys, it isn't often that you wake up on May the 13th and you find a guy hitting 350. But what was Brandon Marsh hitting when he woke up today? That would be 350. So I thought it'd be a cool trip down memory lane to look back and see how many Phillies have ever had an average this high, this many games into a season. So here's what I did. I went back 50 years, and for a guy to make the list, he had to have had as many plate appearances in that season as Brandon Marsh has now. Got a really fun list out of it. So here we go. Pete Rose, 1979. Lenny Dykstra, 1990, was hitting over 400. John Kruk then did it twice in a row, 1992, 1993, and then the most recent, Mike Lieberthal in 99, Raul Ibanez, 2009. And it's hard to remember that this guy did this, but Odubel Herrera was hitting 358 in 2018. Wow. Brandon Marsh, right? So one thing to remember here, the average hitter back when Pete Rose was doing this thing was 25 points higher than it is now. So a 350 hitter today would be like 375 if you adjusted for the league back then. And I just think that tells you how good and how consistent Brandon Marsh has been, and for a long time now.
You just called him Tony Gwynn.
Did I?
Well,
is that what I did?
By definition, yes.
350.
Right. I mean, I like the way he's swinging the bat. There's no doubt about it. There's another guy swinging the bat on this team pretty well. 5 straight games with a home run, Kyle Schwarber. What are your thoughts on what he's doing right now?
It's like watching Babe Ruth, isn't it?
It is.
I don't miss an at-bat if I'm home. If I'm at the park, I watch every pitch of every at-bat because you never know when a baseball is going to go into orbit. It's really fun to watch Kyle Schwarber do what he does. So I know you're looking for some fun facts. He's the first Philly ever with 17 home runs by May the 12th. Now, the season started earlier this year than it ever had, but think about it. We've never lived in that world. Since May 11th of last year, so that's a calendar year plus 2 days. You know how many home runs he's hit? 61 home runs. And then I think it's safe to say this. He's the best free agent power hitter that any team has ever signed. He got to 200 home runs with the Phillies faster than any free agent in history ever did that. And I know there are a lot of complaints over the winter about running it back. I don't hear many complaints about running it back with Kyle Schwarber.
I think they all wanted Kyle Schwarber. Here's the irony, Jayson.
Yeah.
Don Mattingly in 1987 hit a home run in 8 straight games.
I know, right? It's actually on my to-do list this week to see how many players ever played for a manager who also hit homers in 5 games in a row, or if he hits another one tonight, 6 games in a row. Stay tuned.
You know, Jason, look, what Schwarber's doing, it's tremendous, but I can't say that I'm shocked. When I look at what Brandon Marsh is doing, there's a part of me that is legitimately shocked. So Schwarber, we all know, yeah, he has the power. He could keep this up. Can Brandon Marsh keep this up? Can he keep hitting over 300, well over 300 for the remainder of this season?
Well, he's done it now for over a calendar year. And, if you really look at what he was before and what he is now, it's obvious. This is a guy who's gone to work. He's made himself a better hitter. Contact rate is up. The strikeout rate tells you a lot. It's almost half of what it was when he first got here. Half. Stance, not as spread out. Swing, more level. Less pull happy. More line drive, ground ball type hitter. And it's working for him. I think the key to this, Bill, is let's see if it leads to more playing time against left-handers. It seems like Don Mattingly wants to do that. And let's see if it leads to more success than he's ever had against left-handers at any point, at any level since rookie ball. This year's, it's only 31 plate appearances against left-handed hitters, but 286 average, that'll work. That's almost 100 points higher than it was against left-handers the previous 2 years. So I see a guy who's made meaningful changes, but it's hard to hit. It's never been harder to hit, and the league will adjust to him. It'll be really fascinating to see how this year plays out.
All right, so let's play this out, though. If they do give Brandon Marsh more opportunities versus left-handed pitching, would that be then where does Justin Crawford become the platoon piece at that point, where you slide Marsh to center and then they give Sosa some more left field reps? Is that what the plan would be going forward?
Look, that's what we've seen recently. Don Mattingly has said he doesn't want Justin Crawford to just play against right-handed pitching, but he's trying to protect him against certain guys right now. I think that is going to evolve. That Dylan Carlson signing yesterday was interesting. Switch hitter, a little better from the right side. He could factor in at some point. I don't think they know what the outfield solution is yet. Edmundo Sosa is just one more piece in a puzzle that I bet is going to change a lot between now and the trade deadline.
Are they trying to hide this a little bit? Because Justin Crawford is 1 for 18 against left-handed pitching.
That's right.
To me, that's trying. If you're going to hide something, that's the way to hide it. Throw Marsh out in the center.
I think you'll see a lot of that, but Again, I think the whole thing is extremely fluid. Justin, he was not totally overmatched against left-handers in the minor leagues, and he's on pace for almost 40 infield hits. I went back as far as I could go. I could not find any Philly who ever got 40 infield hits in one season. So his legs and his speed can be an equalizer if he just makes contact against left-handers. And I think that's what they want him to do. But right now, whatever's not broke, they're not trying to fix.
Yeah. Jason, we look back to last night. Zack Wheeler looked pretty special to me. Is he back?
Is he back? Zach said last night that he's getting there, Ricky.
Woo.
So I think that tells us he doesn't think he's all the way back. His fastball velocity is just a tick below what it was last April. It's actually faster, a little faster than it was the previous April, and I'm using April as the comp because it's his first month back. The thing is, the results, the presence on the mound, it all looks like Zack Wheeler. There's not as many strikeouts right now, but I was going through this whip, opponent average, strike throwing, hard hit rate. It all looks like vintage Zach. And it's just such a huge difference for this team. I think about this all the time. Last October, Phillies-Dodgers. The Dodgers could not score against the Phillies rotation. And that was in a series when Zack Wheeler didn't throw a pitch. So if you have Sanchez and Wheeler pitching games 1 and 2 of any postseason series in any order, isn't that the formula? I meant to mention to you, too, as of yesterday, Fangraphs is now projecting the Phillies as a playoff team. Their playoff percentage had gone down to 32% 2 weeks ago. Now it's, I believe it's 58%, and also projecting their chances of winning the World Series as trailing only the Dodgers and the Braves in the National League. I find this really interesting. These are projections on what they think is likely to happen moving forward. And Zack Wheeler is such a huge part of that.
Yeah, certainly there's a lot to be positive about. And you mentioned it, Wheeler and what Marsh is doing and what Schwarber's doing, and the list goes on. But there's one thing that a lot of people haven't been positive about, and that's what Andrew Painter's been doing to start this season. Are you concerned about Andrew Painter, Jayson?
Yes and no. When my wife was coaching, I used to tell her all the time that you don't measure progress in a straight line. And I think that's true for somebody like Andrew, somebody this young. The fact that he hasn't figured out big league life yet, that's not the worry to me. The worry to me is that the pitch that made him, once upon a time, the best pitching prospect in baseball was he had a four-seam fastball. He could throw past any hitter anytime he wanted in the minor leagues. And we are seeing that change dramatically. So among starters who throw as hard as he does, he has by far the lowest whiff rate. His is between 8 and 9%. Nobody else is under 12%. The league average against his four-seamer is 373. The slugging is 576. So I kept going. I went back and looked at that pitch specifically. In 2022, that was the year he blew through the minor leagues, when hitters swung at his four-seamer, they missed it 38% of the time. 38. And this year, the whiff rate is 8.7%. Let me just try to explain that to you. A 38% whiff rate would be the second best of any starter in baseball against their four-seam fastball, behind only Jacob Mizorowski. But 8.7%, that's 81st out of 82 full-time starters. So they're trying to figure this out. They thought that raising his arm slot would fix it. At some point, for him to become the kind of pitcher they hope he'll be, he needs to figure this out. He needs to recapture the life on that pitch. So that's the thing I'll be watching closely tonight and obviously moving forward.
Yeah, we got that tonight, and then you get a nice matchup. Is it tomorrow where you got Ranger taking on Luzardo tomorrow?
That is absolutely correct. And you could say that they had a choice, right? Who are they going to pay the money to, Ranger or Jesus Luzardo? They cast their vote. I'm going to say Ranger noticed.
Yeah, what would Jayson Stark have done in that situation, Ranger or Jesus?
Ooh. Yeah, I think I would have gone the way the Phillies went. I mean, like Ranger can be the best pitcher in baseball for 5, 6, 7 starts at a time, but he's never once pitched enough innings to qualify for the ERA title. Jesus Luzardo, I mean, I guess it's certainly possible he'll break down. They all do. But between the innings that he pitched last year, as deep as he was able to get into games, the swing and miss rate is up there among the best in the sport. I would vote for that, but you can tell me, would you have voted for that?
I'll defer to Ricky Bo.
Man, I don't.
It's a tough question, man. It really
is a real tough. I thought that was an unfair question by my partner over here.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, I thought so too, but I didn't go there.
I'll go there. I don't care. I just think Rangers, that proven commodity that has been there, done that in big games. That's the difference between him and Luzardo.
Look, Jesus Luzardo was great in that Dodgers series.
Dodgers,
great, right? But Ranger has the bigger track record. They miss Ranger. They do. Having Ranger in this rotation right now versus Andrew Painter, I mean, that would be an upgrade, but would you have given Ranger $130 million? That's the question. That was really the question.
Well, they're giving everybody else $130 million, so why not?
Yeah, look, with hindsight being 2020, you'd rather have him than probably Aaron Nola at this point.
Yeah.
But you didn't really know that a couple years ago when you gave Nola the extension. And then once you made the trade for Luzardo and you wanted to bring up Andrew Painter, there really was no spot for Ranger, right? I mean, that's ultimately why you had to let him go.
I mean, we're living in the what-if world now. You know, revisionist history it's a fun game to play. The what-if world is a great planet to live on, but nobody gets to really live on it in actual life. And so this is what they are. This is the rotation that they have. And you know, they need Jesus Luzardo to be great, and they need him to be great for more than just this year. And they need Andrew Painter to figure out. Ranger, hope he enjoys life in Boston. It'll be fun to watch him pitch against the Phillies.
Yeah, it will be fun, Jason. It's always fun doing our conversations on Wednesdays, my man. We'll talk to you next week.
Look forward to it, guys. Thanks.
All right, there he is, Hall of Fame writer for The Athletic, Jayson Stark. Always great stuff from him.
He is always good.
Dude, that is a little concerning, though, about Andrew Painter with that pitch that used to be.
Well, it should be.
Yeah.
It should be. I mean, the one thing that I see is out of whack mechanically with his fastball. Why are you always heading into the first base dugout when you throw the pitch? Why? Shouldn't you be straight ahead? Wouldn't that make a lot more sense? Eyes on target? It just doesn't. I think it's a simplistic thing that I think like analytics has taken away his mechanics.
It almost makes me feel better, though, that if it is just mechanics, because that's something the guy could get back.
The other thing is I think he's lost a little downhill slope. You know, when a guy throws downhill, it looks like it's on an angle going into home plate. What I see from him is a lot of flatness. And when it's flat, it leaves his hand and it looks like it's staying on the same plane. That's never a good thing in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and just to go back, the numbers that Stark gave us, in 2022, his four-seamer had a 38% whiff rate. This year, his four-seamer on only 8.7%.
That's a no bueno.
That is a big drop-off. All right, so the Phillies are back in action tonight. Coming up before the end of the show, we'll give you the lineup. We'll give you our home run predictions because Silvana got it right last night. Ricky and I struck out. But we'll get to that a little bit later. I want to get back to the 76ers. They fired Daryl Morey last night, and I got a question that I want to answer. Is Daryl Morey one of the most overrated front office executives in recent memory? We'll get to that coming up next. And a What Movie Wednesday coming up next. So keep it here, unfiltered. 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Unfiltered. Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
Philadelphia Sports Talk. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
This is Unfiltered with Ricky Bo and Bill Colarulo on 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
This hour is brought to you by Papa John's. Papa John's is turning up the heat with your choice of 3 new oven-toasted sandwiches, just $7.99 each or $6.99 with Papa Pairings. Order today at papajohns.com, on the Papa John's app, or stop by your local Papa John's.
All right, welcome back into Unfiltered. It's What Movie Wednesday. We got another chance for you coming up this segment. We're doing 4 $50 gift cards to Nifty 50s today. So keep it here. We got a shot for you at 5 o'clock. Excited. Rodney McLeod's going to be joining us in studio at 5 o'clock. Going to be fun to talk to the Super Bowl champ, Rodney McLeod. But I want to talk about Daryl Morey for a second. So if you haven't heard yet, he was fired last night. Not unexpected. A lot of people thought this would be coming with the Sixers getting swept in the second round against the Knicks. You had 6 years to try to get over the hump, and by over the hump, we just mean simply out of the second round, and Daryl Morey wasn't able to do it. And the question I have, Ricky, is Daryl Morey one of the most overrated executives in recent memory? Because I'm listening this morning, and Evan Cohen on Unsportsmanlike does the morning show for ESPN Radio. He went on a rant about Daryl Morey, and I don't think he's wrong. Listen to Evan Cohen talking about how overrated Daryl Morey is.
I think Daryl Morey is the single most overrated executive in the history of sports. I don't think there's an executive that is more overrated than Daryl Morey. Now, to be fair, Daryl Morey does not rate himself. We as sports fans, we as media seem to rate these guys and gals on a regular basis. He plays into it. He talks to the media a lot. He's got a lot to say. This is the guy, if you don't remember, had the NBA tried to audit a game because he didn't like the officiating in a game. He has been a GM for about 19 seasons with Houston and Philadelphia, respectively. He's been to the playoffs 15 times. Cool. Everyone makes the playoffs in the NBA. We know that. He's been to 2 conference finals. 2 in 19 seasons. He's never been to the NBA finals. His team's record in the postseason with him running the team, 79 and 79. The 2 worst contracts in the National Basketball Association are ones that he signed, Joel Embiid and Paul George. He is not someone that should ever run an NBA team again as a general manager. He is definitively not good at the winning thing. And he carries himself in a way that you would think he is Masai Ujiri and Bob Myers and Pat Riley and Jerry West combined.
I think that's a great rant by Evan Cohen because he's pretty spot on.
I thought it was very well done.
Yeah, 19 years, the guy has never even been to an NBA Finals.
Never been to an NBA Final. Your record in the playoff as a GM is 500 at 79 and 79. Well, I guess if you want mediocrity, there it is.
Well, I think we saw it firsthand as Sixers fans. He's a one-trick pony. Like, what he does and what he did with Houston is he got James Harden. And then he came here, and I give him credit. Right away, he gets out from under the Al Horford contract, right? Great move by him to get out from under that. Turns out Al Horford still had some left in the tank.
He had a lot left in the tank. So was that really good?
Yeah, it just didn't work here with Joel Embiid. But he gets out from under that. I'll give him credit for being able to trade Ben Simmons, but who did he trade Ben Simmons for? James Harden, the one-trick pony. Then James Harden turns on him and says, I'll never play for Daryl Morey again. He's a liar. And then he was able to trade James Harden. Okay, but what is he always doing? He's always going after older players. Paul George, Andre Drummond, Kyle Lowry, Pat Bev. I mean, the list goes on and on. Eric Gordon. He is a guy, and the reason why he probably always makes the postseason is when you go after those older players, I said this earlier in the week, it's almost like he treats the team like a video game. Like, oh, look how good all these players are. But what he's not factoring in is how are they going to handle a 7-game series playing every other night when the intensity level rises, when the physicality rises? Because, yeah, on paper, the Sixers team he built, oh, okay, that team might be able to do something. But in practice, in a 7-game series, having to do it against Boston and then against New York, and then if the goal is ultimately to win an NBA title, his teams can't do that.
When you are a GM or a president of basketball operations, one thing that you need to do is not look at your team as though they're all in their prime and they're all 100% healthy. Because if you were to look at the Sixers and you said Maxey's in his prime, Embiid in his prime, Paul George in his prime, VJ Edgecombe in his prime, guess what? You're winning a ton of championships. This is a team right now that is aging a little bit on one end with the whole Joel Embiid thing and the Paul George thing and their contracts suck. Yeah, we know it. He's the one that did all this. So who should we look at? I mean, is he overrated? Did he get the Sixers out of the second round? The answer is very simple on that one.
You don't know basketball.
The answer, who doesn't?
Daryl Morey.
The answer is a resounding no. He did not get the team anywhere near expectations, anywhere near it.
And Doc Rivers, I wasn't a huge Doc Rivers fan, but look, they fired Doc Rivers, they bring in Nick Nurse, and nothing changed.
It's been the same old story. Everything has been the same old story, which tells you what? The roster that was built is not the roster to take you to the promised land.
So I would love to hear from Sixers fans on this. I mean, Daryl Morey gets fired. One, do you agree, one of the most overrated executives probably in recent memory? And then two, how do you feel now as Sixers fans? Do you feel more optimistic going forward? Because, and again, send your voice memos, text 610-632-0975. Do you feel better about the future? It's still hard to feel better about the future when Daryl Morey did almost irreparable damage to this team in the last 2 seasons because you gave Paul George the 4-year contract back in July of 24. You gave Joel Embiid the 3-year contract extension in September of 2024. You do something good by drafting Jared McCain 16th overall, and you think, okay, maybe we found something. And then you trade him away, and there was no second shoe to drop. There was no other move to be made. So now you sit here, and it's like, all right, well, looking back now, what is Daryl Morey's legacy with the 76ers? What has he left you with? Now, I guess you could give him credit. You got the unprotected first-round pick back in the James Harden trade for 2028, so you still have that. It's like, all right, well, you don't have McCain. VJ Edgecombe, you took him third overall. All right. Like, was it that hard when you're picking third and the other two picks, everyone knew who was going 1 and 2? It's like, all right, so Morey drafts VJ. And then people want to give him credit for Maxey. I don't think you can give him credit for Maxey. He was hired on November 2nd. And the draft was November 18th.
Right.
He had 16 days in the office.
So in 2 weeks, he picked up what he needed to make a decision. No, that's not how it happened.
So you can't give him credit for Maxey.
That was all on scouts and probably Elton Brand.
So what is Daryl Morey's legacy with the 76ers?
Underachiever. But you know what I'm hearing a lot? This goes along with Morey. People didn't believe in Morey, but they also don't believe in Harris owning the team right now.
Yeah, not a lot of people do.
Because a lot of people, what they're saying is he didn't do everything by himself. And that's probably the truth.
Yeah, because you got to get ownership to buy in. Look, I mean, when they went and signed Paul George, if I remember correctly, the picture with all of them having their sneakers off in Paul George's house, wasn't it Daryl, Josh Harris,
it was all of them,
Dr. J, and Elton Brand?
Yep.
I think that's the picture that's circulating. So, I mean, Josh Harris was involved in this. But as frustrated as people are with Josh Harris, and I get it, he's more of a businessman than a really good owner. He's hiring people to make the basketball decisions. He's not the guy who's making the ultimate decision. Oh, yeah, let's go get that guy. That's up to the people he hires to report to him. Daryl Morey was the guy he hired to run the operation. Now, you could be mad at Josh Harris for hiring Daryl Morey. I get that. If you were someone who thought Daryl Morey coming in here was a mistake from the beginning, sure, blame Josh Harris. If it was Josh Harris telling Daryl Morey, you need to get under the luxury tax, which is a real possibility, yeah, you could be frustrated with that. But ultimately, Daryl Morey is the one going to Josh Harris saying, hey, we need to trade for this guy. We need to sign Paul George to 4 years, not 2, not 3, 4 years. We need to give Joel Embiid a 3-year extension. That is Daryl Morey advising Josh Harris, this is what we need to do. So he's the one that's really set this organization back maybe another 3 years. That's the hard pill to swallow right now.
There's a lot of hard pills to swallow right now. Nothing seems to be coming up roses. That's the biggest problem here is because you're looking for a silver lining. Okay, you just fired the president of basketball operations. Where's the silver lining after it? There is none until something else happens. You see what I mean? There's always the next step, the next tragic thing or the next big thing that happens to this team. What's it going to be? That's the question out there. The question, by the way, if you ask most Sixers fans right now, what do you think the question would be? Who's the next GM or what's the next step they're gonna make? Not including the GM. Like, what's the player that's going to be traded?
And tomorrow, 4:00, Josh Harris and Bob Myers will be meeting with the media. We will carry that for you live right here on Unfiltered. Hopefully some of those questions will get answered. But I do want to hear from Sixers fans. Get your voice memos in. We hear you coming up at 5:25. How are you feeling today knowing that Daryl Morey is fired and knowing that Bob Myers, 4-time NBA champion when he was the architect of the Golden State Warriors, is now going to lead the search for the next president of basketball operations? How are you feeling as a Sixers fan? Send your memos in, 610-632-0975. Before we talk about Bob Myers, we got another What Movie Wednesday, Ricky.
Oh.
So if you also missed the news from this morning, the Eagles, Week 5, will be in London taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. They did it in 2018. They played Jacksonville in London. They're doing it again October 11th. Should be a lot of Eagles fans in London. So for What Movie Wednesday, the theme today, we're doing movies based in London. British movies. I did not pick these movies. These are all Dylan McKinnon today. I don't even know what they are. I'm trying to guess them along with you. But if you know the name of the movie, we're going to play a clip. Text it to 610-632-0975. If you get it right, you qualify for one of 4 $50 gift cards we're giving away to Nifty 50s English movies. Here we go.
Hello, Sir Nicholas. Have a nice summer.
Dismal. Once again, my request to join the headless hunt has been denied.
I know you. You're nearly headless Nick.
I prefer Sir Nicholas, if you don't mind.
Nearly headless? How can you be nearly headless?
Like this.
I'll be honest with you. I have no clue. But if you know, text the name of the movie, 610-632-0975. I'm going to have to find out the answer so I can tell you about it. Coming up next, I'll give you the answer, and we'll get an update on what Shams Charania has said about the Sixers search for the next president of basketball operations. And who is Bob Myers? If you don't know, he's the guy running it. We'll tell you all you need to know about Bob Myers coming up right after this. And remember, 5 o'clock, Rodney McLeod in studio. Keep it here, Unfiltered. 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports, Philadelphia.
Unfiltered. Ricky Bo, Bill Colarulo.
Philadelphia Sports Talk. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Unfiltered with Ricky Bo and Bill Colarulo. 97.5 The Fanatic and the Fanatic app.
All right, so we just had your third What Movie Wednesday of the day. This may be the last time that I let Dylan McKinnon pick the movies because I have no clue on these movies. Did you get that one, Ricky Bo? Without cheating, be honest.
It was a Harry Potter one, but Sorcerers of something. I don't know. I don't care. I hate Harry Potter.
So it was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
That sounds wonderful.
I have not seen any of the Harry Potters. I'm sure they're very good. Sorcerer's Stone, yeah.
One more time.
Slow.
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
I am impressed because that's a massacre.
Well, did you see? I put it on the board and I said, "Good luck saying sorcerer."
Get out of here. Sorcerer is not a tough word. That's not a tough word at all. All right, so if you got it right, you qualify for one of the 4 $50 gift cards to Nifty 50s. I guess that movie's based in London. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm assuming. We're doing London movies because the Eagles are now playing in London, we found out, in Week 5. Is that right? Week 5 against the Jags?
Yeah, Week 5.
Yeah, Week 5, 9:30 a.m. It'll be on the NFL Network. But, all right, we got one more chance coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, so keep it here. Rodney McLeod talking about the Eagles will be sitting in studio with us at 5 o'clock. A lot to talk to Rodney about. Played with Jalen Hurts, played under Nick Sirianni, won a Super Bowl here, so a lot of good conversation with Rodney McLeod coming up at 5. But let's talk about the 76ers and this Daryl Morey move that they made. So they fired Daryl Morey last night. And here's the email that the press release that the Sixers sent out after they fired Bob Morey. Or, excuse me, Daryl Morey. Bob Myers, Daryl Morey, they run together. All right, so here in large part, this is Josh Harris's message to the fans. Quote, "To our fans, your frustration and disappointment are understandable and warranted. We have fallen well short of our own expectations and failed to deliver in the way this city deserves. That bothers me deeply, and I have confidence in Bob Myers to establish a path forward for our franchise." Close quote. So who is Bob Myers, Ricky Bo? Is he one of the best executives in the history of the NBA? Or is he a guy that kind of stepped in it a little bit because he inherited Steph Curry with the Golden State Warriors? There's people on both sides of the aisle with this.
You have to be pretty good because he kept adding to that team. It wasn't like he took Steph Curry and that was it, and they just ran with Steph. No, they added to that team. They gave him plenty of support as time went on. But I mean, did he step in it? Yeah, anybody who gets Steph Curry is going to step in it a little bit.
Yeah, he inherited him. He inherited Klay Thompson, but to his credit, he did not trade Klay Thompson when he could have. I think it was for Kevin Love. There was a trade proposal. He didn't do it. He did hire Steve Kerr, which turned out to be an amazing coach in this league.
Pretty good coach.
And he also, look, he signed Andre Iguodala. He's done a lot of good things. And I'm with you, Ricky. I don't think you win 4 championships simply because you have one good player.
See, here's the thing. You look at the Sixers right now. They have more than one good player, but do they have the right players together? He should be able to take a good look and see, can he?
Yeah, and Bob Myers built a team.
So if yes, a team, which means more than one, which means a group of players playing together as one. Can he get that from this Sixers team if he's going to be doing half the duties, if you will?
Now, before we get an update from Shams Charania of ESPN on the Sixers search, a lot of people are very furious with our Dylan McKinnon who picked the movies today because we said we did like movies based in London. Apparently, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone has nothing to do with London.
It's British.
Well, first of all, so I texted and I said, Dylan, the people are saying this movie is not in London. And he's saying, I never said any of these movies were in London. I said that these are British movies. Bill is the one that keeps saying
he's dumb as a
London.
Stump. He is dumb as a stump.
The whole theme was because the Eagles are playing in London, Dylan McKinnon. So wait, none of these movies? I've been lying to people for the last 3 hours?
I mean, what happened? European vacation. Big Ben, Parliament. Big Ben, Parliament.
That would have been a good one, Ricky.
Parent Trap.
We
said that. London has fallen.
London has fallen. Dylan, you dropped the ball. You have dropped the ball. Never again. I do have to say, though, I give Dylan credit because he stepped up to help me today and said, look, I'll do the movies. He just got it way wrong.
I would have done it.
He just got it way wrong.
Why would it be British?
My goodness.
Well,
there was something lost in translation.
Britain.
No, I know.
It shouldn't be lost in translation. They speak English.
There's a little problem here. I think the lost in translation part goes from your mouth into Dylan's ears.
All right, well, let's hope Bob Myers does a better job than Dylan McKinnon did for What Movie Wednesday today. And Shams Charania, who breaks all the news in the NBA, he was on ESPN a little over an hour ago laying out what's going on with the Sixers search. Here he is.
The Sixers are going to be hiring a new head of basketball operations, someone that will now carry it forward from a leadership perspective, but that person will partner with Bob Myers, who's the four-time championship executive and architect of the Golden State Warriors, and now he's the president of sports for multiple teams on the portfolios of owners Josh Harris and David Blitzer. Remember, Bob Myers oversaw the hiring of Adam Peters with the Washington Commanders. He also oversaw the hiring of Sonny Mehta of the New Jersey Devils, and now the same for the Philadelphia 76ers. He is considered to be one of the most trusted people and executives and most sought after among high-level industry executives and even owners. So Bob Myers, I'm told he's in Chicago right now meeting with the current 76ers staff that's still in place, the incumbent staff, and moving forward, he's going to be a part of leading the process and the search for the next Sixers head executive.
All right, so there's Shams Charania with the update. We will hear from Bob Myers and Josh Harris tomorrow. And listen, whether you believe Bob Myers is a little more overrated than he should be because he did inherit Steph Curry, you can't deny the fact that the guy has been around the game a really long time. He was an agent before he was an executive. He did win 4 NBA titles. He did make a lot of smart moves. And it seems like he did it kind of 2 different ways. Not only did he go and make big signings like getting Kevin Durant to come to Golden State that time, he also signed guys like Andre Iguodala, who ended up being an NBA Finals MVP.
Awesome signing.
Yeah, guy turned out to be an NBA Finals MVP. As we talk about Andre Iguodala, he's rumored as maybe being a potential candidate to take over this role. You know who else I saw? Howard Eskin put out, and Howard Eskin was all over this. You got to give him credit. He was all over the Daryl Morey firing. He was on middays yesterday. Malik Rose, he put out. Howard Eskin's hearing Malik Rose might be a potential candidate. We had Malik on the show a couple weeks ago. He's got local ties to the city of Philadelphia. He's been in front offices before. He's now working with the NBA. So Malik Rose could be a potential candidate as well. I actually got to go back and pull. I forget. Remember I asked him about trading Joel Embiid? And remember Malik Rose is like, typical Philly media dropped on me asking about Joel Embiid getting traded. And I forget what his answer was. I forget what Malik Rose's answer. If Malik Rose gets hired, we're pulling that clip for sure on what he said about Joel Embiid. But as you sit here right now, Sixers fans, are you more optimistic about the future than you were before Daryl Morey was fired? That's the question we threw out on a Twitter poll today. And unfortunately, most people were in agreement with me and Ricky on this. No, you're not more optimistic because you still have these big contracts that Daryl Morey leaves you with Paul George and Joel Embiid? And if Josh Harris doesn't want to go over the luxury tax, how are you filling your bench? But let's check the Twitter poll. Twitter poll been standing strong for 3 hours thanks to Dr. Avi Donapel of Iron Mountain Men's Health. What do we got, Sil?
Does firing Daryl Morey make you feel more optimistic about the Sixers' future? Yes or no? Gap is getting bigger. 64% saying no, 36% saying yes.
Man, oh man. Well, tomorrow we'll hear from them. Maybe Bob Myers or Josh Harris will say something. I doubt that they're going to say something that's going to make people feel better, but at least maybe they could lay out and figure out what the plan is going to be. No Ricky Bo tomorrow.
Thank goodness.
As he's going to be at the PGA Championship.
I will be. That's just rude, crude, and socially unattractive right there, what she just did.
Actually, coming up on the radio side after our show, Dee Lynam, who's now the new women's golf coach at LaSalle.
At LaSalle.
She's doing a PGA Championship special right here on our airwaves.
That's pretty cool.
All right, so that'll break it all down for you. But joining us next, and I'm very excited about this, Rodney McLeod will be in studio with us coming up. We got a lot of questions for him about the Eagles. Rodney McLeod won a Super Bowl here in 2017. He was here Jalen Hurts' rookie season. He was here in Nick Sirianni's rookie season as head coach as well. So a lot to talk to Rodney about. Keep it here. Unfiltered continues. 97.5 The Fanatic, NBC Sports, Philadelphia.